Today I'll be talking about my internship experience with Ashley Furniture. So I had the pleasure of doing my internship with Ashley Furniture Industries. Ashley is known to sell furniture, whether it's living room furniture or recently outdoor furniture. After doing my internship, I have learned that Ashley Furniture has moved to outside and builds furniture for patio furniture. So this is something that I learned while I was doing the internship. Another thing that I learned about Ashley Furniture is that they are providing seminars for their employees to constantly be updated in education on how to deal with customers, how to deal with people, how to deal with your emotional side when dealing with hardship situations. So I think that that is something that is very beneficial to their employees, but it's something that I learned after doing my internship. Another thing that I learned about Ashley Furniture is that they provide on-site training for their employees with new furniture that they come out. There is a lot to do with motion furniture, so figuring out how to work a motor and how to troubleshoot for customers so that their employees can better provide a customer service for their customers. Another thing that I learned while doing my internship at Ashley Furniture is that their tuition reimbursement program not only benefits office professions, but there are some for manufacturing and there is some for engineering, which I was not aware of until after I did my internship. My internship was in the order fulfillment department, and order fulfillment deals with fulfilling a customer's order if there's any back orders or if we're sending a partial delivery out to a customer. We're the department that makes the customers aware. So we deal a lot with behind the scenes of a customer's order. In order fulfillment, my duties were to update standard operating procedures, or SOPs for short. I did update over 20 standard operating procedures for the order fulfillment department. In the standard operating procedures, I was removing any old procedures that no longer fit with order fulfillment or making sure that the current procedures were up to date. These documents had not been updated for 2 years, so there was a lot of changes that happened within the department that I needed to make sure that those documents either included or were not included in there anymore. An advantage to having my technical documentation class the same time as my internship was that I learned along the way and I was able to enhance those skill sets and use them in my internship because I was dealing with technical documents. Another example of duty that I did for my internship was my content calendars. Our department doesn't deal with social media, but these were trial social media posts that I was responsible for. So for a week straight, we did social media posts that would benefit customers that had issues with their furniture protection plans. A lot of the things that were touched on those social media calendars were what was covered with a protection plan, what types of protection plan there were, and what companies Ashley Furniture used for their protection plans. Stuff like this was very beneficial and would be very beneficial to post so that customers are aware that there are options or what their options is in regards to their protection plan. Another content calendar was with customer service. So there are corporately owned stores and non-corporately owned stores. So different numbers where a customer could call in, the times of operation, the things that customer care dealt with. Another duty of mine with the internship was to update our day in the life PowerPoint presentation. This presentation is really beneficial to other departments that don't necessarily know what order fulfillment is all about. With these projects, I was able to work collaboratively with Carol Hesh. She was our transfer admin gal, and she dealt with some of the standard operating procedures. So I worked very closely with her to make sure that the procedures were right, and if they weren't, for her to teach me so that I could update the standard operating procedures. Another person that I worked closely with was Sarah Bonham. She was in charge of our surveys, and standard operating procedures have survey links in them, so to make sure that those surveys were updated was very crucial to the successful completion of these standard operating procedures. Another responsibility for me was to ensure that the presentations were the most current, because a lot of changes had happened before I took on this internship. To wrap that up, I did work collaboratively with Sarah, and I also worked collaboratively with Carol, but I did work individually when I created the social media post and the day in the life. I took what I learned from Carol and I took what I learned from Sarah, and I incorporated everything in the remainder of my internship program. The skills that I learned was dealing with charts. I was currently working in a different class on charts and graphs, but this allowed me to put actual live data and create charts that could also benefit in the standard operating procedures. My document design class helped me as well, because that's another class that I was taking while doing my internship, and making sure that the documents, the headings were correct, the bullet points had the correct functions, and that they did grab people's attention. So that was another benefit to working in my projects with that class hand in hand. The skills that I excelled in were the technical documentation, just because, again, I was going through the class as I was going through the internship. So I think that area I really excelled in. The social media class that I took did help a lot with the social media posts, because it kind of gave me an idea of things that I could do, and the planning ahead really benefited our department because it was really busy with other areas. So for me to plan ahead in the social contents were really, really helpful. There were some areas where I felt that I was unprepared, and that was when I was updating the standard operating procedures. I didn't know everything in order fulfillment or the different jobs, so when I was updating the standard operating procedures, I did have to learn the job itself. It did take longer for me to learn them and then updating, so that area I felt that I was very unprepared. But after I, got with Carol and I got with Sarah to kind of question them a little bit more on the details of the surveys or the details of the transfer admin group, I was able to kind of come into a conclusion of the knowledge that they shared with me and put that into the updating of the standard operating procedures. Overall, this internship did help strengthen some of the skills that I've learned, but it also helped me realize areas that I could work on in the future for a profession in professional communications. So it was very beneficial to do this internship, and I was glad that I was able to do it in a corporate office setting to play a little bit with the skill sets that I maybe weren't so strong in, but also in the areas that I was strong in.